Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. So friends, welcome this evening for the Wednesday evening Sutta class. And the Sutta this evening will be the last Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya, 152. The Indriyabhavana Sutta. And the translation of that is the development of the faculties. And the faculties here are related to the sense faculties. So what are called the six sense faculties, the faculty of the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. These are basically connected with the the sense organs, the sense bases, and then the objects that are coming through the senses, coming through the nervous system. So we have the sense objects. See, my hand disappears. The sense objects come through the sense organs. They relay through the nervous system, through the sense bases, to the brain where we have contact, and then feeling and perception. So the sense faculties, the development of the sense faculties. And so in this sutta, there's a Brahmin student named Uttara comes to the Buddha and exchanges, courteous pleasantries with the Buddha, and then sits down to one side. And then the Buddha asks him a question, rather than, of course, this Uttara is a Brahmin, so the Buddha is familiar with and this student Uttara, his teacher, a Brahmin teacher, was known to the Buddha. And so the Buddha basically knew the teachings of these Brahmins and regarding the mind and meditation and so on. So the Buddha asked this student, he said, does the Brahman Parasarya, that means this student's teacher, does he teach his disciples the development of the faculties? And the student replies, he does, Master Gautama. Then the Buddha asks him, But how, Uttara, does he teach his disciples the development of the faculties? Now, the Buddha already knows this, but this is the way he used to kind of just start some conversation, and in a way to help teach some of these Brahmin students the difference between their traditional Brahmin teachers about how they develop the body and the mind. We've read some other sutras already about this too. So he's asking this Brahmin student, how does this teacher develop the faculties? That means develop their sense faculties. So this Brahmin student replies, in this teaching, Master Gautama, one does not see forms with the eye, does not hear sounds with the ear, and the rest of the sense faculties. So basically, he means the development of the sense faculties would be able to not hear any of the stimulations coming through the senses. And to kind of ignore or turn off the senses. And then the Buddha gives this interesting reply. And then the Buddha says, if that is so, Uttara, then a blind man and a deaf man will have developed faculties. Because according to what your teacher says, a blind man does not see forms, and a deaf man does not hear sounds with the ear. And so the Buddha is asking, so is that the development of the sense faculties? Then a blind person and a deaf person also have the development of the sense faculties, because they don't see forms or hear sounds either. And so then the student cannot really answer the Buddha's question. So it said the student Uttara sat silent, dismayed, with shoulders drooping, and with head down, glum, without response. So this is a standard kind of response. We've heard this in other suttas where the Buddha presses these Brahmins or their students about, trying for them to explain about various aspects of the Dhamma, about concentration, about meditation, about this, and so on. And, they can't really explain it. And so they sit kind of, glum and so on. And then knowing this, knowing that the Brahmin student couldn't answer that question, the Buddha tells Ananda, his attendant, this Brahmin Parasarya teaches his disciples the development of the faculties in one way. But in the Noble One's discipline, that means the Buddha's teaching, the supreme development of the faculties is, a different way. And so Ananda then says, now is the time, Blessed One, now is the time for the Blessed One to teach the supreme development of the faculties in the Noble One's discipline. And so again, this is, the Buddha already understood all these things, but it was as a way kind of to introduce and to teach this Brahmin student, in case he hadn't heard, the way the Buddha teaches his disciples about the development of the sense faculties. Now, before we get on to that part, it's like some of these ascetics at that time, you know, they thought that the senses were the enemy, and that, you know, they would see forms, you know, beautiful things with their eyes. Perhaps, you know, the monks, the ascetics would see women, and then that would cause lust or desire to come into their minds, or they would smell food or hear sounds, and this would cause defilements to arise in their mind. And so they thought it would be better to gouge their eyes out, or to stick an iron prick in their ear to go deaf. And in that way, you know, they wouldn't be disturbed by the sensory vibrations of the world coming through. And so in that way, the way this Brahmin had said, you know, we don't hear, the development of the faculties is to not hear sounds, not to see forms or smell things that would trigger off the accumulated desire, you know, that's there in the unconscious mind. So the Buddha was totally against that. And so he's teaching the Aryan way of the supreme development of the sense faculties. It's not to ignore things, but it's to develop the mind where it doesn't react to the stimulations. You can't shut out the world, you know, and the sensory stimulations are always coming through, you know, the mind. So then the Buddha goes on to explain these 3 levels of the supreme development of the faculties. And these 3 levels pertain to the attainments of the particular individuals. So the Buddha says, this is how there is the supreme development of the faculties in the noble one's discipline. And this is referring to the non-Aryan disciples. So that means the monks and other meditators who are practicing the way but have not yet attained to the stream entry. So they see forms with the eye, and the same with the others. Forms with the eye, they hear sounds with the ear, they smell odors with the nose, they taste flavors with the tongue, they feel tangibles, pleasant and painful sensations on their body, and they experience pleasant or painful memories or thoughts within their mind. And then because of those sensory contacts, there arises what is disagreeable, and there arises that which is agreeable. That means pleasant sensations arise, and painful or unpleasant sensations arise. And both pleasant and unpleasant sensations arise. And they understand that there has arisen in me what is disagreeable, or let's say this unpleasant sensation has arisen. And there has arisen in me a pleasant sensation. And there has arisen in me which is both agreeable and disagreeable. Of course, those are arising at different times. But whenever one of those agreeable sensations or pleasant sensations or painful sensations or neither painful or pleasant sensations arise, then this is when they reflect. So they're using reflection because they're still training themselves. So they reflect this feeling is conditioned. It arises because of conditions, because of contact. And they are gross, they're dependently arisen. And this is peaceful, this is sublime, that is equanimity. Of course, it goes into, there's more elaborate kind of reflection done on that. So a person is still, they're making an effort to cultivate insight and detachment. So they might be using the different forms of reflection about how this pleasant sensation, if you get attached to it, it leads to, more desire, and then it leads to the karmic actions based on that, and the same with the painful feelings and the pleasant feelings. So they're developing insight into anicca, dukkha, and anatta, basically. Seeing them as impermanent, conditionally arising, and without self, even though it doesn't specifically mention it in this sutta, but that's sort of implied or inferred from it, that they're making an effort to develop equanimity in an effort not to react to that feeling, either the pleasant feeling or the painful feeling, or the neither painful nor pleasant feeling. And therefore, because of that reflection, the meditator then develops equanimity and doesn't react to it. And so he gives this little analogy or simile. He said, just as a man with good sight, having opened his eyes, might then shut them, or having shut his eyes, might open them, so too concerning anything that is agreeable or disagreeable, or both agreeable and disagreeable, that arise, they cease just as quickly, just as rapidly or easily, and equanimity is established. So, so he's saying, just as, we can open or shut our eyes. So if I see an object, I can shut my eyes and I'm not seeing it. But then, and then because it needs contact for the reaction to arise. So if you shut your eyes, you're not seeing the object. But that comes back to the previous example about that's not really developing your faculties by shutting your eyes and not allowing anything into the eyes. What we're shutting is our mind. We're shutting down our mind's reaction to the stimulus, not keeping it out, because you can't do that. You can't live your life having a, shutting down all of your senses. So this is called the development, the supreme development of the faculties regarding the forms by the eye. Actually, he repeats the whole thing 6 times, but for brevity, it's basically he repeats the same thing for all the other senses. So again, that was for, regarding for the training of the beginning meditators or the beginning monks, is that we have to apply the right effort in order to prevent these by reflecting on the dangers uh, in avoidance of, these sensory stimulations, reflecting on them so that we can detach from them, have detachment. And so in mindfulness meditation, that's what you're doing. You feel a painful feeling on the body, and then you see the urge to want to maybe move, but then you reflect on it. No, this sensation is not really that bad. I can endure it. And you try to relax around it, and you see how it's impermanent and changing. And you reflect, well, if I keep on moving all the time, I'm never going to get any peace of mind or develop concentration. So, you make the effort to endure that sensation, and hopefully develop a type of equanimity toward it, a kind of equanimity with effort. But then he goes on to the second stage of the development of the faculties. So the first development is using the restraint and the reflection in order to have equanimity towards the pleasant and painful sensations, or the agreeable and disagreeable objects, so that you don't create unnecessary, unwholesome karma toward them. And then he goes on, the Buddha goes on, said, again, Ananda, when a monk hears a sound with the ear and the rest of the senses, and he repeats the same thing again. There are also agreeable, disagreeable, both agreeable and disagreeable objects or feelings arise in them. And he understands thus. Oh, all right. Okay, no, the second part is, and how Ananda is a disciple in higher training. So this is the second development. Disciple in higher training who has entered upon the way. Now this refers to sotapannas, or once returners, or never returners. So he's talking about the sekas, the ones who have attained those first three stages of liberation. So when these persons sees forms with the eye, or hears sounds with the ear, and cognizes a mind object with the mind, there also arises in him what is agreeable and also what is disagreeable, and there arises what is both agreeable and disagreeable. So all those three types of sensations arise in the sotapanna as well. But instead of reflecting on that, because he's already done that reflection in the previous levels before he attained sotapanna, it says, then when he experiences them, he is repelled and humiliated and disgusted by those sensations, and by any type of reaction to those sensations that he might have done in the past. He feels, that instant kind of detachment. He doesn't have to reflect on it. It comes up very quickly because he already has that insight, having attained the way, having developed the right view. And so that immediate kind of insight comes, and and therefore he attains the equanimity through that. So it's much faster, and they don't go on to create any karma through their reaction. So that the difference between the first level is that it requires more effort to reflect and develop restraint towards reacting to the senses, and developing one's equanimity. But when you've reached the level of the Sotapanna and above, then it becomes much easier because you have that direct wisdom. You have, that insight already. But still, there could be times when, the mind might be inclined, but very quickly one would have that understanding of seeing the, being more, being humiliated or disgusted. They use these terms, but, they're a little bit strong. But, so they're in a much better behavior to restrain themselves with these feelings. Because it's the added insight. That's what does the trick. That is the sort of dividing line. It's that having the supramundane view of a Sotapanna or a once returner that makes it much easier to have that instant kind of understanding of anicca, dukkha, anatta, and therefore be able to much quicker establish that equanimity. And then it goes on to the third stage. And he says, and how Ananda is a noble disciple, one with developed faculties. And this is referring to the Arahant, or the ones who have attained full liberation and have overcome all the 10 fetters. So these monks they also see forms with the eye, hear sounds with the ear, odors with the nose and tongue. They still experience these things, even in the Arahant, in the enlightened persons, their faculties are still open. And there also arise what is agreeable and disagreeable, and both agreeable and disagreeable. So, they still arise. Even the Buddha, had unpleasant, painful feelings come, especially when he got older, right, in his body. Or when the monks were quarreling in Kosambi, they're quarreling monks who didn't want to obey the Buddha's teaching. That was kind of a disagreeable, but he didn't allow it to cause him suffering because his mind had, already transcended that kind of, attachment. So, but this is the deciding factor to show the supreme development of the faculties. If that monk should wish, he can abide perceiving the unrepulsive in the repulsive, or he abides perceiving the unrepulsive in the repulsive. And he can do that. And he can abide perceiving the unrepulsive in the repulsive and in the unrepulsive. And so this is interesting. This is this is, shows you the skill in the meditating. Like you can turn a painful feeling into a pleasant feeling. Or you can turn a pleasant feeling into a painful feeling in order to neutralize it. And how would you do that? So you can turn a painful feeling into a pleasant feeling. In other words, if I saw a rotting carcass of a dead animal on the street, you know, the average person going by, and maybe there was a horrible smell, right? And maybe there was maggots crawling in and out of the body. So the average person, oh, you know, and you know, they would see that as a, you know, unpleasant, repulsive thing. But an insight meditator can see that same object and say, how wonderful, the Dhamma, this is showing about impermanence. This is a teaching about decay and death. How wonderful. This body, this meat bone body, you know, when the life force is knocked out of it by whatever kind of karma, you know, this is what's going to happen to this body, and this is what's going to happen to my body, and they can get happy from that. So they're getting happy from the insight. So they're seeing, in that way, they're kind of seeing the pleasant aspects of that, what ordinarily would have been a repulsive thing, but it's because of their insight. Or maybe not something that extreme, but even in your meditation, let's say an itch, for example. You know, let's say if, you know, when you start meditating, you have an itch, and then most people, you know, that would irritate them, and, you know, there'd be urge to want to, you know, get rid of it, right? Or it could be some unpleasant sound occurring, somebody making noise in the next room or something, and they could see this unpleasant feeling and the aversion arising from this sound, and, you know, they get annoyed. But a meditator, or especially, you know, you can train yourself to turn that into a pleasant feeling if you're getting insight from it. And so, you know, you can watch an itch and actually enjoy it because you're getting insight into it. And so the more unpleasant sensations that you feel, actually, you can get a joy from that, because it's a challenge for you to develop your insight and equanimity so that you can actually see, turn that what ordinarily might be a painful feeling into a pleasant feeling. But it's because of the insight. So anyway, in an enlightened person, that is, course of has been developed to a high degree. So they can easily develop that. That means they have full control over their faculties, where the average person doesn't have that kind of control over their faculties because they're undeveloped. They haven't developed the faculties of reflection and the faculties of wisdom, like, well, the five spiritual faculties of faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. Those are also, you know, the five spiritual faculties. So they have undeveloped faculties in that sense too, and then within the senses themselves. So then after having, of course, all those details weren't explained in the sutta, but again, that's inferred from, you know, a lot of times when we read suttas, you know, that's why just reading one or two suttas is not going to be give you a lot of insight. But when you read all the suttas, and you've read many, many, many suttas, you can see what may be said in one sutta in a brief way was described in another sutta in the details as what happened just in the last 2 weeks in our sutta study. We had talked about one sutta, and then I read some aspects from another sutta that clarified that. So in the same way, in the development of the faculties, so then the enlightened one abides in equanimity, mindful and fully aware towards all those objects. And this is how one is a noble one with developed faculties. And in the end, the Buddha is saying, Ananda, the supreme development of the faculties in the noble one's discipline has been taught by me. The disciple in higher training who has entered upon the way has been taught by me. And the noble one with developed faculties has been taught by me. So again, he's just reminding about these 3 different levels of the development of the faculties. And then in the end, he says, what should be done for what a teacher should be do for his disciples out of compassion, I have done that for you, Ananda. These are the roots of trees. These are empty huts. Meditate, Ananda. Do not delay, or else you will regret it later. This is our instruction to you. This is what the Buddha was saying to Ananda. Of course, there was other, monks around, and even that student, Uttara, was there. So, because even Ananda was not fully enlightened yet. So, he may be in that middle level. He was a Sotapanna, or maybe he was a once returner, but he hadn't attained full enlightenment yet. So, even the Buddha is telling them, to continue meditating until you've developed the supreme development of the faculties by attaining the complete eradication of the defilements. So that comes to the end of this sutta. Now, having gone through that, let's see if there's any questions about any of that that might have come up. It doesn't look like there's any chat questions that came up from that. Maybe everyone listening already has their faculties developed. We'd hope so. But at least to one of those degrees, probably most people are still, trying to develop their faculties. And but if there's no chats, if anybody would like to, demute themselves.
I have a question, Bhante.
Then you could go ahead and ask your question. Okay, Shobha, yes.
Yeah, Bhante, so when you said that turning repulsive into a non-repulsive and turning the unpleasant into something pleasant, so in order to do that, doesn't one have to be at a really advanced stage?
Yeah, that's why that referred to the Arahant. He didn't say that for the Sotapannas and for the trainees. He was saying that is that's how an Arahant, somebody who has attained that complete development, they have the power to, see the repulsive or the painful aspect of something that an ordinary person might seem pleasant.
Yeah.
Like an ordinary person, that are, have a lot of vices or unhealthy habits like drinking alcohol or taking drugs. The ordinary person might think, oh, that's pleasant. Let's go get high, But somebody who's like enlightened or even attaining some stages of enlightenment, for them, they're already high. They would see that it would bring them down. You know, an arahant probably, if they smoked a joint, it would probably bring them down, not get them high, because their mind is already much higher than what any drug could bring them. So they would
Yeah.
see that what might bring pleasant sensations to certain people, they would see that as, you know, a painful thing.
Yeah.
Bhante, I have a question, please. May I ask?
Yes.
It's in the trains, it says pleasant feelings and unpleasant feelings, and both pleasant and unpleasant feelings. Does both pleasant and unpleasant feelings mean neutral feelings?
Well, it means that the feelings can arise at different times, because,
Oh, okay.
you know, one object can bring you a pleasant feeling at one time, and it could bring you a painful feeling at another time, depending on various situations. So, you know, they can do that. Your body can bring you a pleasant feeling. It can also bring you a painful feeling, right? Because
Yes.
it's always changing. So, you know, but both can't arise simultaneously, but
Yeah.
can follow each other very quickly.
In
But
other places, I have heard it said neutral, pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, and neutral feelings.
yeah,
That's why the
or
question.
neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Normally it's called the neither pleasant
I
nor
see.
unpleasant, but in this particular sutta, he was talking about both agreeable and disagreeable objects. So he was referring to primarily the actual sense object that's giving rise to the pleasant or unpleasant feeling. It's a disagreeable object, such as a rotting, you know, seeing a you know, a dead animal on the road. Now, most people would say, oh, you know, too bad, or whatever. You know, they would have some unpleasant feeling, or it could be something else. But
Thank you,
so it's an
Bhante.
object that triggered off it's a disagreeable object, or a smell. Let's say, you know, somebody lets some bad air out of their backside and it comes wafting, you know, across your nose when you're trying to meditate, you know, so that there's a disagreeable odor, right?
Mhm,
And then that it would trigger off some, you know, negative thoughts or reaction about it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Bhante, this class that you have started for the beginners, is this every Friday evening?
Yes, we're going to have one even on Christmas Day, but there won't be one the following week on, I think it's New Year's Day. We're going to cancel that one because we'll be finishing our retreat at noon, and you know, so
Yeah.
you know, I'll probably be, you know, not tired, but anyway, you know, not wanting to, you know, go back into more quietness. So I'm going to cancel it for that day.
Yeah, I think, Bhante, that's an excellent idea, starting a class for beginners, because I think there's such a big need for it.
Yeah, you know, a number of people have asked me, but unfortunately, because of this COVID time, we don't want to pack the hall too much. So that's why
Right.
I haven't really advertised it very much. It's only people that have talked to me directly about it, you know. And I said, you know, come on Friday. But once the people get vaccinated and, you know, this fear of going to places, you know, goes down, then, you know, we could even have 50. We've had even 25 or 30 people here, you know, for our DOMs back in the beginning and so on. So.
Right. So is it from, what time is it on Friday evening?
We've been having it from 5:30 to 7. Yeah. And we do some walking meditation too. But I'm not putting that on Zoom or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so actually also next Wednesday night, they're not going to be this Sutta class because we're going to be in the middle of the retreat on next Wednesday. So I'm not going to have this Sutta class next Wednesday, and I'll send out a notice about that before that, telling that the Sutta class next Wednesday, and also the Sunday program, because the retreat ends on that Sunday. But the closing talk on the Sunday, that would be, no, it's not Sunday, is it? Actually, it's New Year's Day is
New Year's Day is Friday.
Let me get mixed up. What?
New Year's Day is Friday.
It's a Friday. Okay. So the Sunday, yeah, we might have that Sunday. We might have the normal Sunday, 2:00.
We can't.
Yeah.
Bhante, the retreat will be on the YouTube, not on the Zoom. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
I think that's what you said earlier.
That was Prashant's, because it's more work for him.
Yes.
And also with arranging things. So, we're just going to have it over YouTube Live, and just mainly the talks and the meditation, guided meditations. Not all of it, but so like we did for the Thanksgiving retreat, something like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'll make a mention of that in the next newsletter.
Yeah. So Bhante, remind me once again, what dates are the retreat?
It's starting on the 28th evening till January 1st.
Ending on?
So that's, I think it's...
after lunch on January 1st.
I think it's starting Monday night, I think. This next Monday night.
28th is Monday night.
What?
28th is Monday.
Okay, so it's starting Monday night. That's going to be just basically I'm not going to broadcast that because it's just for the people that are here. It's just some orientation and some initial meditation, but I'm not going to broadcast that.
Okay, so it will be then on from Tuesday we can watch it.
Yeah, Tuesday morning when I give the kind of some instructions and guided meditation, then Tuesday morning and Tuesday afternoon Dhamma talk and so on.
Okay, Bhante, do you mind putting all this on the website, please?
I'll try to remember.
Like the starting on Tuesday, what time to what time, on Tuesday and then Wednesday.
Yeah, because things fluctuate, I don't want to be held down to exact minute I got to start, because.
Yeah, no, I don't mean exact minute, but just a rough idea, like when to when we can tune in.
Okay. Is there any other questions about the sutta that we just were discussing? There was one chat question that came up. Okay, now let's go back to that. What is the difference between the 5 spiritual faculties and the senses, or are they the same? No, they're different. 5 spiritual faculties are what are called faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. Whereas the sense faculties are just the faculties of the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, and learning how to understand the sense bases. So the sense organ themselves, the sense objects, and then the contact that arises from them, and so on. So, but it's those faculties of the sense faculties. So they're kind of different. But of course, the whole training is about training the sense faculties. So our faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom is based on knowing that we can develop those faculties. We can control those faculties. What causes everybody suffering is they cannot control these faculties of their senses because they're hardwired in the untrained person. And they just, they're caught in their web of karma. And so they can't control their urges. So they, get angry at any little thing, or they have attachments, and, they get irritated so easily by these six senses getting stimulated in different ways with greed and aversion, and then they're creating the karma. So the whole training is really training of how do we purify these sense faculties? How do we train and develop them? And that's by developing your faith in the Dhamma. The practice of Dhamma is how we do it, but you have to have faith in the Dhamma that it can be done. And then developing that energy to practice. So that first category that we mentioned, that would be pertaining to people that are trying to develop their sense faculties, the ones that have to reflect on the nature of impermanence and develop that more effort to be mindful about how one is reacting to the various painful or pleasant things arising. So, but they're actually, when they talk about these 5 spiritual faculties, that is, the one thing, and then the sense faculties are this other, dealing with the senses. Okay, this other question here, pleasant and feelings and unpleasant feelings appear to be equipping us for survival. If it is too hot or cold, it generates unpleasant feeling and responses to save our body from the effects of heat or cold. How is it beneficial to be equanimous about them? Now, it's true that pleasant and unpleasant feelings are about survival and it's about evolution, but that belongs to the conditioned world. So they're beneficial to a certain extent, but people get overly infatuated by the pleasant feelings, and they become addicted to them. And what is not for our survival, they go on doing it anyway. So, there's so many things that people do that are not dependent upon their survival, or it's threatening their pleasurable feelings. So they break the precept, tell lies, kill, steal, cheat, because a person depriving them of their pleasure or depriving them of their livelihood or whatever it might be. It's because of their, and they overdo it. It's not just for basic survival, because people can survive with a lot less than what, the average modern person, thinks they need to survive, right? So it's a matter of knowing what, there's a little phrase saying, there's enough in the world for our needs, but not enough in the world for our greed, right? So it's our greed that goes beyond our needs, right? Our need is not to have 3 meals a day and snack 4 or 5 times in between all those meals. That is not a physical need. In fact, people get sick and it causes them death by overeating sometimes, or certainly other kind of problems, right? Or the need to hear, music at 100 decibels or whatever. And you know what I mean? It's just that we become overly dependent and addicted to which is not the need for survival, although some people think they need it to survive, right? But that's delusion. So therefore, that's why we have to understand the nature of painful and pleasant feelings. Sure, some painful body feelings are telling us that something is wrong, but oftentimes, you know, they're not that bad. I mean, oftentimes we tend to develop fear or worry about things that are not really that bad because the mind makes a mountain out of a molehill. So you feel a little thing and immediately you jump to a worst case scenario and then find out, well, it was nothing really, you know. Once in a while, there may be some useful fact about it, but that's probably less time than the times that we overdo it for no real reason, or no important reason. So that's why it takes a lot of, you know, mindfulness and understanding to know when enough is enough, and so on. So, you know, the middle path, right? The Buddha took the middle path. So he wasn't out to starve himself to death. He tried that, but realized that wasn't going to bring him to enlightenment. So he started eating again. And some other people criticized him because, oh, look at this Gautama, you know, he's eating more nice food again now, you know, he's given up the training. No, he found the middle path to avoid the extremes. So that's really the, you know, and the development of the sense faculties is not depriving you of any sensual stimulation, but it's not overly creating more sensory stimulation than what you need. What comes to you naturally, it's okay. But we develop the wisdom not to be a slave to these sensory stimulations that are coming through our senses. We see them with wisdom. We know when it's useful to pay attention to them and when it's not useful to not pay attention to them. Right? So, okay, friends, I think, you know, we've gone on now for enough time, and so we still want to have time for our meditation practice, okay? So we'll bring this, you know, we'll get ready to have our yoga, you know, a few yoga stretches. So we're going to take a couple minutes break to use the thing, and I have to turn my camera around so we can demonstrate or lead you through a few exercises and then before the meditation, okay? So I'll see you back in a few minutes. Okay, friends, so stand straight, keep your feet a few inches apart. Relax the arms, hands at the sides. Just gently close your eyes. Just focus on your feet pressing the floor. Try to feel the height and weight of the body over the feet. Just try to mentally feel the outline of the standing body. And then begin some deep, slow breathing. So try to take 3 or 4 seconds to slowly breathe in, expanding your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Hold the air in the lungs for 2 or 3 seconds. And feel the relaxing contraction of the out breath, feeling the last bit of air go out of the lungs. Just take several deep, slow breaths like that. We coordinate these movements with that same kind of deep, slow breathing, repeating each movement 3 times. So you can just open the eyes and watch as I kind of lead you through it. On the next in-breath, raise the arms over the head, interlock the fingers, turn the palms up, straighten the arms, stretch your head back to look up at the back of your hands, arch the back a little bit. On the out-breath, turn the palms down and touch the top of your head. And again, in-breath, palms up, straighten the arms. Stretch up. Out breath. And third time, hold that upward stretch longer. Arch back a little bit more. Feel the sensation. You now release your fingers, and on the out breath, arms back to the sides. Just relax. Just feel the physical body sensations. Try to feel the effects of each exercise in terms of increased body sensations, pulsations, or any little aches or pains. If you can't feel that, just feel your feet pressing the floor. Just remember that you're standing. Okay, then next on an in-breath, push up on the toes while raising the arms over the head in this way, facing the palms toward each other and stretch up. Out breath, back down, arms to the side, heels to the floor. Use the breath to help lift and lower the body. In breath, up. Out. In. Out. Just relax. Just keep feeling the body. And feel the increased heart beating, pulsation. You might feel the clothing touching the skin, the arms, the chest. Just remember standing. It's the present moment of the body. You now spread the legs and feet apart about 3 feet. We're going to do twisting from right to left. Breathe in. On the out breath, look at your right hand and then twist to the right, keeping your eyes focused on the hand going backwards. On the in breath, come back to the front. You can let your feet turn with the body and then to the other side on the out breath to the left. In breath, front. Just repeat that 2 more times in each direction. Out breath to the right. In breath, front. Again to the left, out breath. In breath. Once more to each side. and relax. Just feel each foot pressing the floor. Don't give the mind time to wander in thoughts. It's always feeling some part of the body. Feel the increased heart beating or pulsation, any other noticeable body sensations. Just remember standing, standing, standing. Just letting go of your thoughts. Okay, next we'll do forward and backward bending. Again, be careful with the back bends. When you come up from a back bend and straighten up, you could feel some kind of shaking or like you're going to black out. So don't bend back too far the first time. So just let the hands touch the front of your legs. And breathe in. On the out breath, bend forward. Let the hands slide down to your kneecaps the first time. Keep the head up, looking out straight ahead. Try to flatten the spine, getting the hump out of the spine. The legs straight. In breath, lift up. Move the hands under the buttocks for support. Let the head go back. On the out breath, gently bend backwards. Keep the eyes open. On the in breath, lift up. Be aware of any shaking. And again, out breath, let the hands come down below the knees. About halfway if you can. Still keep the head up, legs straight. In breath up. Again, the back bend. Bend back a little more. In breath up. And the third time, let the hands come down toward the feet. Still keep the head up. Now hold that longer. Feel the stretch in the hamstring muscles. Breathe in, lift up. Once more, the back bend. In breath up. In the out breath, just relax. Just feel the whole body vibrating, pulsating with activated life force. To the healing energy. And bring the legs, feet back together. We'll do one last simple movement, the head turning. So on an in-breath, just turn your head to the right as far as you comfortably can. Try to look over your right shoulder. On the out-breath, turning the head 180 degrees back to the left. Look over the left shoulder. Concentrate into the neck vertebrae. Imagining them, feeling them loosening up. In breath back to the right. Out breath left. In breath right. Out breath left. Once more to each side. On the next in breath, let the head stop in the center. Just feel the whole body. Just remember standing, standing, standing. Present moment of the body, here and now. Okay, so let's come back to your sitting place. Get ready for the sitting meditation. Okay. So again, I'm going to be turning off the video for this guided meditation. Just try to sit straight, keeping the back and the head in a straight line. Rest your hands somewhere on your lap or on your legs. Once you've placed your hands, then try not to move them during the meditation period. Just close the eyes. First of all, just focus down where your buttocks are pressing the seat. Just feel that solid contact of the buttocks pressing the seat. Feel the sensations of hardness, the earth element, the hardness. Try to feel your right and left buttock and some sensations, all that flesh being pressed into the seat, producing sensations. Just mentally remind yourself of sitting, sitting. Okay, now feel your feet underneath pressing the floor, your feet and toes. Just focus your attention on the feet and toes to feel some sensation. Might feel whether socks rub on the skin of the feet, or any sensations from inside like tingling or pulse of blood. Again, just keep in mind that you're sitting in the present moment. And let the attention move up to feel your hands and fingers. Where they touch together, where they touch your body. See if you can feel the outline of your thumbs or other fingers. Might feel the pulse of blood in the hands or fingers, or a warm sensation. These are all just present moment sensations within this sitting body. And feel the weight of the arms hanging from the shoulders. Relax the shoulders. Feel where the clothing touches the skin of the shoulders or arms. Just be aware of any sensation. Might feel some prickling sensations or any other irritation, or just neutral sensation. In the arms. Now let the awareness move up to feel the head balanced on top of the neck. Try to keep the chin lifted up, level to the floor. Try to find that center of gravity of the head and spine over the hips. So just gently move the whole head and spine gently backwards until you come close to that tipping point. And then kind of come forward just a little bit so it's not uncomfortable. But just mentally feel that erect, alert posture. And feel the face. Feel or imagine the skin stretched over the front of the skull. This tight sensation. Just feel any little prickling sensations on the face. Sort of like you're watching the face from the inside. And feel the lips touching together. Feel the dryness or the moistness sensations in the lip. Where the upper lip touches the lower lip. And feel the tongue laying in the mouth where it might touch your teeth. Feel those sensations. You might feel the sensation of the tongue and the saliva. While you're doing this, be aware of any pleasant or painful sensation. Now move the attention up to feel the eyes in the socket. And the eyelids stretched over the eyeballs. Just kind of gaze on the eyeball with the inner gaze. Might feel some subtle eye movements, the blood pulsing in the capillaries of the eyeballs or eyelids. You might see some light or color or some visual image or just darkness. And just remember sitting. These eyeballs are in the sitting body. It's one of the sense faculties, the faculty of the eye. Where many agreeable or disagreeable visible objects come through the eyes, stirring up the mind. Now from this point behind the eyes, still keeping them closed, try to feel the outline of the sitting body. It's the general outline of the buttocks and feet underneath, the arms and hands at the sides or in the middle. The head balanced on top. Just try to hold that outline of the body in the mind's eye. And just remember sitting. It's the present moment of the body. And then again, take some deep, slow breaths as we did in the yoga. Try to take 3 or 4 seconds to slowly breathe in, feeling that gradual expansion of the abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Hold the air in the lungs for 2 or 3 seconds. Feel that oxygenation of the blood. And feel the relaxing contraction of the out-breath, feeling the last bit of air go out of the lungs. Try to take several more deep, slow breaths like that, cultivating this present moment awareness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. continue that basic awareness. We're going to try to count the breaths from 1 to 10. Try to keep your concentration. So just stay focused on the breathing process. And with the next incoming, expanding breath, mentally count to 1. Feel the brief pause on the contracting out breath. Also count to 1. The next in breath, 2. Out breath, 2. In breath, 3. Out breath, 3. In breath, 4. Out breath, 4. In breath, 5. Out breath, 5. In breath, 6. Out breath, 6. In breath, 7. Out breath, 7. In breath, 8. Out breath, 8. In breath, 9. Out breath, 9. In breath, 10. Out breath, 10. Now discontinue the counting, discontinue any controlling the breath. Just let the breathing return to its shorter, uncontrolled rhythm, but continue to feel it. Keep the attention focused in the center of the body to feel the shorter, more irregular, expanding and contracting sensation. Just knowing when the breath is coming in and knowing when the breath is going out. Knowing it by feeling it. Feeling the raw physical sensation. Especially where the clothing rubs against the skin of the stomach, rib cage, or chest. Those tactile sensations from the friction, the chest and clothing. They help you stay alert, awake. You can make these brief mental notes to yourself to help remember. Just in, sitting, out, sitting. Try to notice the brief pauses between the breath. The in-breath, the brief pause. The out-breath, the brief pause. It's one whole cycle of breathing called the breath body. The in-breath and the pause. The out-breath and the pause. The pause might only be a fraction of a second. It's okay. Try to notice it. Just try to notice how each breath is different. Sometimes it's long. Sometimes it's shorter. Sometimes you feel it more in the abdomen. Other times you feel it more in the rib cage, your chest. It's always changing. Breathing in, sitting. Breathing out, sitting. It's the ongoing, continuous connection to the present moment. This breathing body is the natural connection to present moment awareness. If we lose that connection to the breathing body, and the mind easily wanders to the past or future, or getting distracted or falling asleep. Just breathing in, sitting. Breathing out, sitting. Breath by breath, moment by moment. Just letting the thoughts come and go in the background. Just keep the feeling of the breathing body in the front of the awareness. And be alert when thoughts sneak up, steal your mind away. If you get lost in thoughts, recognize it. Lost. Thinking. Take a deep, slow breath. Bring the mind back into the body. Stay grounded, centered, awake in the breathing body. If you have trouble concentrating, you can, on your own, you count the breaths by yourself from 1 to 10 to help stay concentrated. And on this body, we have these sense faculties, pleasant or painful sensations are coming and going. Be alert when the mind gets attracted to any painful or pleasant sensation. Knowing that it's impermanent. All these sensations are just coming and going through this breathing body. Especially with each out breath, relaxing the body, relaxing the mind more and more to the present moment. Just letting go of pleasure or pain. Breathing in, sitting. Breathing out, sitting. Or if you're feeling sleepy or too many thoughts, you can also come back and do more deep, slow breathing to help stay more active, more awake, to have more sensation. You find the mind totally lost in thoughts. recognize it as lost, lost. Find the body sitting on the floor here and now. Take a deep breath, bring the mind back into the body. Back to in, sitting. Out, out, sitting. Just gradually opening up to the flow of impermanence. Feeling more sensations arising and vanishing in and around the breathing process. Just feeling this breathing occurring within the larger sitting body. It's full of sensations. Pleasant sensations, unpleasant sensations, or painful sensations. Neither pleasant nor painful sensations. And any thoughts arising based on those sensations. Fear, worry, anxiety. Desire or aversion. It's just this body, this nature doing its own thing. It's keeping this body alive, all these billions of cells. Acting and interacting with each other, producing sensations. Who is the I that's feeling these sensations? You know where the sense of I comes from. Breathing in, sitting. Breathing out, sitting. Sensations come and go. Thoughts come and go. Perceptions come and go. Sleepiness comes and goes. The 5 hindrances come and go. These are all just the continuous changing states of the body and mind in the flow of impermanence. But just beneath all of that change or mental confusion or chaos, it's the parallel dimension of the now, of the present moment awareness. Connected to the breathing body. This breathing body is the lifeline or the life preserver to the present moment. If we lose that connection to the breathing body, to the present moment, then the mind gets easily lost and tossed about in the stormy seas of past and future neurotic thinking, greed, hatred, and deluded thought, worry, fear, anxiety. So just cultivate this attention, mindfulness of the body, the breathing body, as your constant anchor, touchstone to the present moment. The body is always here and now, literally just beneath your nose. It's inviting you to come home to the body and rest in the present moment. To get off the treadmill of past and future neurotic thinking. What perceptions arise based on that sound contact? Now let us spend the last couple of minutes cultivating thoughts of metta, friendliness, best wishes toward our own body and mind, and radiating that out to others. So again, let's take a few deep, slow breaths. After breathing in, hold the air in the lungs several seconds to feel that metta, or feel that oxygenating blood going out to all the cells of the body, and feel that relaxation on the out breath. Just take several deep, slow breaths like that, sending metta to your own body, mind, nervous system, healing power of oxygenated blood. Just cultivating these thoughts to yourself. May I be well, peaceful, and wise. May I be free from excessive attachment, greed, anger, or hatred, jealousy, envy, fear, pride, and ignorance. May I be free from the pain, sorrows, and sufferings of body and mind brought about by such unskillful thought, speech, and action. May I have the patience, strength, mindfulness, and wisdom to meet and overcome all difficulties in life. May I be able to continue to deepen my understanding of the Dhamma and practice of meditation to help free the mind from confusion and suffering. May I be well, peaceful, and wise. And try to continue taking some more deep, slow breath, and just kind of imagine sending these same thought vibrations out to your mother, father, other family members, even if they're deceased, they're somewhere in samsara. Sending these vibrations out to your friends, relatives. With each out breath, imagine these vibrations going further afield, out across the countryside, to towns and cities. Just imagine it as a healing energy with each out breath. Vibrations of metta, friendliness, best wishes, going through the bodies and minds of all beings. With each out breath, extending that radiation of metta across the whole, over the whole earth. Just with the thought that may all living beings be well, happy, and peaceful, free from greed, hatred, fear, and ignorance, free from pains and sufferings of body and mind, brought about by their unskillful thought, speech, and action. May all beings be able to hear the teachings of the Dhamma and practice meditation to help free their minds from confusion and suffering. May all beings be well, peaceful, and wise. May all beings be well, peaceful, and wise. Just like a mantra reverberating throughout space. Well, peaceful, and wise. Now I invite you to join in chanting the word sadhu slowly on a long out breath, repeating it 3 times. If you want to hold the hands together at the chest, you can. Just take a deep breath. Sadhu. And place the hands at the edge of your knees. Take one more in breath. As you breathe in, stretch the head back, pull your hands against the knees, arch back a little. And lift the head up on an in breath, and on the out breath, press the chin to the top of the chest to stretch the neck vertebrae. Lift the chin up level on an in breath. And relax on the out breath. Put a smile on your face. Okay, friends, so this brings our evening program to an end. And won't see you until after probably the holidays, or at least Christmas. So I know for some of you, you can't travel out for Christmas, or you're staying alone, whether you're alone with yourself or you're with others. Just remember to maintain your mindfulness. Not let the mind get caught up in too much excitement or any negative thoughts. And try to take your M&Ms, minutes of meditation every hour, to stop and pause. Bring your mind back to the present moment, taking a few deep, slow breaths anytime you find yourself getting caught up too much quick bodily movements or too much mental movement. Have an enjoyable holidays, whether you're alone or whether you're with others. Okay? I wish you all the best. And, anyway, so again, this is a reminder, next Wednesday, we won't have this Wednesday evening Sutta, but we will have this Sunday, we'll have the 2 o'clock reflection on the Dhammapada verse and meditation, as well as the following Sundays. Okay?